Hello everyone, I'm Ariel with Urbanist, and this is a show where I explore cities all around the world and show you its wonders. Today we're going to ride the subway from the newest station in New York City. It opened only 3 years ago in 2015, and right now we're right by a construction area right next to the most expensive private development project ever built in America at $19 billion. This is the Hudson Yards, all the way on the west side in Midtown Manhattan. And you can see skyscrapers piling all around us, including one skyscraper that's taller than the Empire State Building. Now this puts this station in a very prominent position because this is increasingly becoming the new heart of Manhattan. And this station is going to service all the people working in the offices, living in the apartments, staying in the hotels, eating at the restaurants, visiting the museums in this new area of Hudson Yards. It also services the Jacob Javits Center, which is around the corner. It's the largest convention center in all of New York City. Now, this area traditionally was mostly industrial. Not that many people came here to hang out, to work, at least in businesses and offices, or to just visit. So now that is changing radically, especially with Hudson Yards. There's going to be a huge elevated park project called the Vessel, and we're going to have a bunch of beautiful buildings all around us. So I can't wait to go. So let's ride the subway, which is the newest subway station ever built. The Cortlandt station is technically not the newest because that is just the restored station. This is the most recent built station in New York City. New York City has 472 stations. This was 472nd and 34th Hudson Yards subway station on the 7 line. It was an extension. Originally it was built in order to make a bid for the 2012 Olympics and start building the infrastructure needed to build all the stadiums around Midtown West. Before there ever was a plan for Hudson Yards, there was a plan for stadiums to be built right here. And this 7 line was going to be the main transit hub for all those stadiums. They built it especially huge with beautiful mosaics in order to service up to a projected of 200,000 people per day. Now it's not really that many, but with Hudson Yards that might change soon. So as we're walking through, look above. This is a 360 video. Look above and you can see the beautiful mosaics. Now the station is also very deep because they had to build beneath the infrastructure that was already built in this area, and also not to take up space for any future stadiums to be built around 2011-2012. But New York City lost that bid to London, so they decided to make the station anyway because development was going to happen here nonetheless. And Hudson Yards quickly came about a few years after. Now the station was officially opened in 2015, about 3 years behind schedule, but it is absolutely grand. So let's ride the subway on the 7 train. Ooh. It takes true practice to really know how to swipe the cards just right. See, the station is very deep. Look down that way. Now the station is servicing now a lot of people who are working in new offices in Hudson Yards. Companies like Amazon, Google, VaynerMedia, there's many others who have moved to the Hudson Yards. Now we're just right after rush hour, so it's not as heavily densely packed right now. And generally after rush hour, this area of Manhattan doesn't have too many people walking through. Now it does also get packed when there is a conference happening or expo happening at the Jacob Javits Center. And huge conferences are like the car show, the auto show that happens every single year, New York Comic Con, and there's countless others that draw in tens of thousands of people on a daily basis. And that's when you also see the station packed to the brim. Let's walk down. So the 7 line is the IRT Flushing line. It runs through Queens. The 7 line is kind of cool because as you take it in its entirety from Hudson Yards, 34th Street, all the way to Main Street, you pass by a huge plethora of different ethnic neighborhoods, including Jackson Heights, which is where I'm personally from, and it is known for its South American and also Southeast Asian community. And also you go further down, you pass by the traditional African-American neighborhood of Corona, Queens. Now there's also a lot of big Mexican-American presence. And even further down you have the biggest Chinatown in all the world outside of China, and that's Flushing Main Street. All right, let's take the subway. Here, the subway is right here. This is the last stop, so there's no other subways that stop here. Now let's make our way to the very front. Now, actually, before we just need to take the next one. Here are the 472 stations in New York City. New York City is the subway system with the most amount of stations in all the world. This is 472nd. Now, the subway goes all the way from here through Queens into Flushing Main Street. Now, the New York City subway system is huge. It was built in 1904, after the London Underground, after the Paris Metro, and after the Budapest Underground. Then came New York City in order to compete with those burgeoning cities and provide a system of trains so people can easily make their way around this increasingly larger and larger city. Alright, let's make it to the front. So the subway system is very easy to ride. You should generally have all the stops marked on the newer trains. About half of the trains now in New York City are the newer trains, and you always have the stops all marked. There's maps all around. So here's the front window. It's pretty dark, so we can't really see too much. Let's see if we can go on. No, we can't see too much, but I'm able to see the tunnel, and that's cool. Right there's also the conductor, he's riding the train. So by 1904, New York City grew significantly because in 1898, New York consolidated with the city of Brooklyn, which was a different city back then, and also with other areas like Queens and the Bronx. And New York City became huge, from one little island of Manhattan to 5 distinct boroughs. And with those 5 distinct boroughs, there had to be a transportation network connecting mostly Manhattan and Brooklyn at first, because those were the 2 larger populations. And that's when the subway came about. Now New York City was also increasing further northward, and they were pushing further and further north. Before the subway, no one really was in Times Square. Times Square was known as Longacre Square, and it was mostly just horse stables.
This is Times Square, 42nd Street. Transfers available to the 1, 2, 3, A, C, E, N, Q, R and W trains.
Now keep taking
and
this train
shuttle
all the
to
way
Grand
through.
Central.
You'll get an awesome
Connection
journey
available
throughout
to
the world,
Fort
all in New
Authority
York City.
Bus Terminal.
Today, let's get off Times Square and show you the huge Times Square station.
This is a Queens-bound 7th Express train. The next stop is 5th Avenue.
So before, right, 1904, before the subway was open, it was Longacre Square. No one was really Longacre Square except the horse stables. It wasn't really a desirable area. Most people did not pass 23rd Street. But New York City was looking forward. They knew that the city was going to expand rapidly. So they decided to put the main subway hub right here at modern day Times Square, 42nd Street. Times Square ended up getting its name from the very first major business to move to Times Square, or Longacre Square, which was the New York Times. They made their headquarters here because the new headquarters for the subway system was going to be built right here. And hence they end up renaming the entire square to Times Square. Now this is a major transit hub with a bunch of lines, the 123, the ACE, the NQRWS, and the 7 train. Now this is a huge corridor. This traditionally connects two distinct stations, one on 8th Avenue and the other one right here on 6th and Broadway. And it's a huge labyrinth of subway stops. So if you first come here, you might get a little bit lost, but pro tip, if you want to take the blue trains, the ACE lines, go through the 8th Avenue entrance. If you want to take any other station, go through the Times Square entrance. There's always buskers and musicians playing in these stations, which is awesome. Let's go to the main hub through here. Now, this station services about 197,000 people per day. So, New York City was projecting the 34th Street Hudson Yards stop to top that by 2025. Let's see if that actually does happen. You often see these vendors painting over subway maps. New York City subway maps, of course, are iconic, something a New Yorker sees on a daily basis. And this is the main subway hub. Now, there's a little secret here that a lot of people they always look forward. The New Yorkers are always moving forward. They never look up. 360 video, you can look up. And this is a mural commissioned by the MTA by Roy Lichtenstein, a famous artist who innovated this kind of dotted style, this comic booky style, right over here. Original piece of Roy Lichtenstein, the subway system. And you can take the shuttle to Grand Central down there. And there's always performers right here in this one. Now imagine coming back here in 1904, you just heard about the London Underground and how epic it was, how awesome it was. And then suddenly coming to this station in Times Square, basically middle of nowhere Manhattan at the time, and really seeing the future. That must have been an impressive sight. You would have been greeted by the huge onslaught of lights as we are right now, but you must have known at that time, the people who were there was something in store for this city. And here we are, Times Square. Now, since we put ourselves in that perspective of 1904 coming up here, there would have been nothing. There would have been still horse stables, kind of slowly being dismantled. The One Times Square, which is this building now covered in billboards, was the original headquarters for the New York Times, was the only building really being built here. So if New York City is anticipating the 34th Hudson Street stop to have more than 200,000 riders on a daily basis, are we going to have another situation where right now we just went through it kind of looks pretty empty, but it might completely radically change in 5 to 10 years? Who knows? But I think New York City is always transforming, always changing. New York City is always adapting, and that's the beauty about this city. As the sirens roar, as tourists hoard these streets, I think there's so much beauty in this city, so much new things to behold. So thank you everyone so much for watching. I'm Ariel with Urbanist. Share this video with your friends and family. You'll show them the beauty of New York City. And for the supporters on Urbanist already, thank you so much for lending your support. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Have a good day, everyone.